Good evening and welcome to Lucky Dog Sim Racing Truck Series here at Fontana, California, the Great Auto Club Motor Speedway. 100 laps set for you this evening. 17 cars in our field. Very competitive field. A lot of the lap times and practice and qualifying very close to each other. We'll go ahead and we'll do a rundown through our starting lineup. Starting first on the pole, number 78 of Gary Slapinski. To his outside in second, the 429 of Paul Witt. Starting third, we have the 79 of Mark Jackson. In fourth, the 57 of Jeff Gilmore. Starting fifth, and the number 9 is John Held. Sixth to his outside, the number 43 of Sandy Curtis. Seventh, we have the 99 of Dan Witt. Starting eighth is the 23 of Mr. Ray Zerkut. Starting ninth, 74 of Robert Jordan. Beside him, the 59 of Ralph Blair. Starting 11th is the 52 of Gary Whitmer Sr. Starting 12th is Michael Pegg. 13th will be the 1 of George Rincon. Number 14th will be the 89 of Randolph Richard. 15th starts Joel Guy. 16th is John Henderson. Starting in 17th is John Braccio. 100 laps here at Fontana. Green flag is in the air. Excellent start by both the 429 and the 78. 78 able to pull out ahead going into turn one. Here you see all those many different lines you can run here at Fontana. Top, middle, bottom, you can run 4 wide at this track. Not really break a sweat. If some folks opt in to go to the high side, there's a lot of speed there on the high side and a lot of really good runs there coming off the corner, going down the straightaways. Like we were watching, seeing Sandy Curtis. We're 3 wide further back there around the 99 Dan Witt. So he's going to be in the middle going here through 1 and 2. You can see that top side, it fades back a little bit in the corner, but as you get towards the exit, that 59, Hooters machine is going to pull ahead. See the 1 there backing out a little bit, not having enough room to come out the track to pick up some positions. So we are still 3 wide here with the 52. Gary Whitmer Sr., the 1 to his inside, the 777, the 89 outside. 777 just not able to go anywhere. The 89, Randolph Richard, did not get the run off the corner that we would usually expect here at Fontana, as they're still 3 wide. I'm hesitant to say these guys are racing exceptionally hard. It's just neither one of them can get the advantage to be able to move somewhere. 89 is able to get the draft run off the 99, pull ahead. The 1, George Rincon, goes ahead and backs out a little bit. He's like, go ahead. I'm tired of being on the bottom. Being forced to stay down there is just going to absolutely tear up his tires. He does not want that, especially on a long run. They managed to get everything sorted. We'll go back and we'll watch our leader here, Gary Slapinski, going in the corner. Gary here loves that low line. As you watch when he goes into the corner, he'll go ahead and he'll dive, and he'll go ahead and hit the apex of the corner. 429 of Paul Witt, just 1 lane up. Question is, which line's going to give the best by way of tire wear? Because the line Gary's running is long term the best line to be running. The line the 429 is taken probably close second. Almost indistinguishable between the two. You're looking at like maybe an extra percent, 2% per run of tire wear running that slightly higher line. Then you run right up there against the wall running the Tyler Reddick line. You see 429 past the 78. Got an excellent run down the backstretch. But you run right up against the wall, that Tyler Reddick line It's a really fast line, but it chews up your tires so incredibly fast. You have to know exactly what you're doing to not burn off the right front and cause the truck to get incredibly loose over the course of a long run. As you burn off that right front, so you start leaning on the right rear to try and rotate the car, and that back end just wants to step out and slap the wall on you. I should know the wall line is my preferred line myself. Usually though, when you're running in ranked and hosted, you aren't looking at long runs here at Auto Club. Unlike Lucky Dog, where we can have 100 laps caution free. And having those incredibly long runs really adjusts how you want to run this race. So 429's already just letting the truck drift out to the wall already, just trying to put as little wheel in it as possible to save his tires, especially with the 78 of Gary Slipinski all over his rear bumper. Gary has not given up his line at all. He's sticking right where he wants to be, almost following the tire tracks. 429. 429 almost gets in the wall, maybe a slight brush there on the right rear. These two working together exceptionally well as a pair. They're just running drafting partners, trying to break away from the field. They're doing a fairly good job. They've already got a 7/10 of a second gap, 7/8 of a second gap over third place of Sandy Curtis. Sandy Curtis, no slouch himself, leading this three-car group, the 43, the 79, and the 74. So they're all working together. They're not racing too hard. As we have this is probably going to be a caution here. Almost. 79 looked like he and the 74 got tangled up here. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Wonder if maybe we're looking at some net code here. The 74 is coming up the track. We'll watch one more time. 74 has a monster run. 74 gets into the back of the 79 there on corner exit, just that little bit. So the 79 going to have a little bit of damage there on his rear. The 74 definitely got the worst of it. That right side all torn up. As he's coming down pit road, he needs to get that fixed. These trucks are not going to run well with that kind of damage. As we hop further up, you have the front five all running single file trying to front three all single file trying to break away. Paul Witt, Gary Sapinski, Sandy Curtis. Back here in traffic, they're very much racing for position. We saw George Rincon earlier. He was racing there round about 10th place, 3 wide. He's managed to work his way up to the 6th position. Is outside the 777 of Michael Pegg. Looked like he started, maybe had a penalty he had to serve. I'm not entirely certain. He didn't qualify last, but that's certainly where he started. Michael Pegg working his way up from last place here. He's taken the 6th position away from George Rincon, who is currently under fire from the 111 of John Henderson, the 79 of Mark Jackson, since he faded after that contact with Robert Jordan. He's got the 52, Gary Whitmer Sr., looking to see what maybe he can do. And the 91 of Joel Guy just waiting in the wings. We watch our leaders. Really not much change. The 429, the 78, working very well, making some excellent lap times. Their last time by, they were running almost a 40.5. Sandy Curtis slightly catching him, about a tenth of a second a lap faster. He's running that high line. 429 almost has a moment there. Looks like he may got a little loose there off the corner. That 43, Sandy Curtis, reeling the leaders in slowly. We take a look back here in 4th place at Dan Witt. With the way these guys are running side by side, they're giving up about 0.3 of a lap, second a lap to the leaders. So while they're trying to sort themselves out, they're giving up a lot of time. And over a long run, you give up 1/10, 2/10 a lap, even the 3/10 a lap that they're giving up over a long run, that's seconds on the track. At that point, you're looking at maybe some interesting pit strategy to make up that time. 777 of Michael Pegg pushing himself up to the 4th place, firmly into the top 5. Looks like he's bringing the 9 of John Held with him. John Held able to clear the 99 of Dan Witt to cement his spot in the top 5. We'll see if anyone here in the pack can find their dancing partner, quite like how the 429 and the 78 have found each other. Those two working together exceptionally well. It looks like the 78's applying a lot of the pressure to the 429. The 429, not so much worried about where Gary's driving, because he knows Gary's giving him that excellent aero push down the front and the back stretch, and they are scooting away from the rest of the field. Not as much as maybe you'd see at a Charlotte or a Kansas with this kind of teamwork, but well enough that these two, as 429 has another moment, looks like that truck may be getting a little tight. He jerked the wheel to keep it off the wall. Gives the lead back to the 78, doesn't contest it too much. Hope Paul hasn't overdrove these corners. See, he's doing a little bit of a lift action there on corner exit. Maybe already fried that right front tire. Keep an eye on that as that goes. Hopefully he's okay. He's not had a fantastic start to the Lucky Dog seasons on either Tuesday or Thursday. Things just do not seem to be going his way. I think out of the races we've run so far this season, he's only had one top 5, and that is out of character, the 429. Sandy Curtis doing everything he can to track down the leaders. He's only about 5/100ths of a second faster than the 429 that last lap. But both the 429 and the 43, their last time by, were half a second slower than the 78. Now they've gathered it back up. That may change as we continue. That time by, both those cars only about a 1/10 slower. Paul moves up to that higher line, maybe to protect that right front tire. Maybe he already burned it out running that bottom, so he's more leaning on that right rear to get the car turned. Since this backpack figured out what it was they wanted to do, John Held glued himself to the rear bumper of Michael Pegg. These two, it's almost like Michael's got a chain hook to John Held, and he's just towing him around the track. These two kind of figuring out what they wanted to do. They've started making up some excellent time, tracking down the 43 of Sandy Curtis. They were seconds back. Now they've managed to close within a half second of Sandy. Their lap times currently running 0.3 of a second faster than Sandy Curtis, the 0.2 faster than the leader. Michael and John Held hooked up. I think right now this is the strongest pair of trucks on the track. You can see the 9 getting right up to the rear bumper of the 777, almost touching him, almost giving him a little bump draft like you'd expect to see at Daytona or Talladega. Not quite getting there, just pushing on that aero bubble. You see how much they've closed in on the 43. This has been an excellent drive from these two. We go a little further back, take a look at some of the side-by-side action we have going on. Very respectful racing going on. A lot of room being given. 57, 59, racing hard, but not getting anywhere close to each other. There's a lot of track here. There's a lot of opportunity, a lot of space you can make a pass work as they get settled back in line. Let's look to the front of this little group. So 111 of John Henderson. A small three-truck breakaway ahead of him. This group racing side by side, unfortunately giving up a lot of track position to the leaders. They see the folks in front of them single filing out, not pushing too hard. These trucks only have about 35 laps of fuel per run. With 100 laps here, that guarantees 2 stops at least. If we have a caution anywhere in there, that really throws a monkey wrench into the whole fuel strategy plan. But with 35 laps of fuel in a 100-lap race, their pit window should open about lap 30. Unless they're going to save, and I don't know why you would with that amount of fuel. Pit window should open about lap 30, be the first time you can pit, come down, put 4 tires on the car, and that gives you... But unfortunately, that would force you, if my math is correct, that would force you to pit on lap 65 and run to the end. So you can go ahead and do your short run early, short run in the middle, short run at the end. It's really up to you. But if you're able to save, maybe push that out a little bit further, maybe save your tires a little bit, maybe save a little bit more fuel, get an extra lap or 2 out of the truck. That may be possible, but watching these guys running, it doesn't look like they're saving much anything. They know they pit around. They come down pit road between lap 31 and 34. They have more than enough fuel. They come down another 32 to 34 laps. They don't have to save. Sometimes staying out and saving is the way to go. 79 trying to get a pass done on the 99. Unfortunately, not quite able to get there. He's got the 1 all over his rear bumper. Maybe looks like gave him a little shot there. 111 saw the checkup, sees this as an opportunity to dive low, maybe pick up a spot or 2. Not quite. 79 does a really good job of pinching the 111 down there and still sliding up back in front of the 1 truck. 1 giving him a solid bump draft. They are definitely pushing each other hard down the back straightaway. 111 got an excellent push from the 52, Gary Sr. 1 truck got a very, very good run coming out of turn 4. Brought him alongside the 79. That's that momentum you get on the outside lane. Especially potent coming out of turns 3 and 4, the way the exit and the front stretch is shaped. They're still trying, almost 3 wide. One truck staying right there up against the wall. George definitely seems very... We have a caution out. Looks like the 91. Joel Guy may have a problem. This is that caution we were talking about. Might give us a bit of an issue. Let's go back and take a look and see what happened. Doesn't seem to be any problem. What happened there? I'm not entirely certain. Let's go ahead and let's ride along with the driver, see if we can see what was happening inside the car. He's going into turn 1 just fine. You know, I almost bet that looks like a mechanical failure. Maybe in Joel's computer. If you see that, watch that, the steering wheel, it does this really weird motion. The throttle's hung, but the brake is engaged. Maybe a disconnect, or his wheel just disconnected from his computer. I'm not entirely certain. That looks very much like a mechanical failure on the computer end, and that's not what you want to see ever, unfortunately. So he had to take a tow. And after 28 laps, they are all coming down pit road, with the exception of the 74 of Robert Jordan. Remember, he had that contact with the wall earlier. He'll be our lucky dog, so he'll have to go around the track one more time before he's able to come down pit road. And so now's when that fuel question really comes into play. Can we make it from here? Lap 29, we haven't quite hit that pit window yet, but with the way this works, these guys should be able to come down pit road one more time, maybe put a splash of fuel in there, and they might not have to save. But at the same time, they could also stay out, keep their track position, maybe save a little bit of fuel. Depending on how they play their cards, they should be able to make it from here with some very smart throttle control, maybe a little bit of clutching through the corners to go ahead and maybe save that extra lap that they're going to need. We'll see. We'll definitely do some ride-alongs with some of our faster trucks to see what exactly it is they choose to do. Only seeing a couple trucks opting to come down pit road, take that extra splash of fuel. We got the 59 of Ralph Blair, the 79 of Mark Jackson. We got the 74. Robert Jordan, he's still working his way around the track. We got the 57 here of Jeff Gilmore, also opting to come down pit road. Put one extra splash of fuel in it. Got the 111 John Henderson. It's like he's already taken his splash and go. So with this little bit of extra fuel, we'll be taking the green flag on lap 31. These guys should be able to make it all the way to the end on one more stop. About the furthest they can push, it's lap 35, maybe, not 35, lap 65, maybe lap 66. If they can make it to lap 66, then they should have more than enough fuel. About a lap, maybe a lap and a half to make the end. So we head back up here to our front row. Pace car leads them through 3 and 4. We got the 78 of Gary Slapinski in first, 429 of Paul Witt second. The number 777, Michael Pegg in third. Excellent drive from him all the way from the rear to his outside in fourth. The 9 of John Held and the 43 of Sandy Curtis rounds out your top 5. So we head back into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is in the air. Excellent start from the bottom. Gary Slapinski able to just about clear the 429 going into turn 1. Got a pretty good arrow push from the 777. 43 is Sandy Curtis stuffing it in there, trying to see what he can make out of this. He's alongside Paul Witt there, running solidly along the top lane. Sandy squeaks in behind the 429, trying to get that good dive going through the corner. We've also noticed Sandy preferring that top line. Michael makes the pass on the 78. Excellent pass. 777 to the lead. That's his bonus point for leading a lap. So our top 4 under a blanket, single file run. 78 opting to go to the top. Falls back a little. 78 maybe saving a little bit to make sure he can make it to the end. The 777, the 429, the 43 do not appear to be saving anything. They're running that bottom groove. Sandy Curtis trying out that line that Paul's been running. One lane up off the bottom. Looks like gave him just enough of a run. Coming down the front stretch to keep the 78 behind him. Head into turn 1. All over the back. Paul's bumper. Sandy Curtis giving one heck of an arrow push. They are moving. This is what you're going to see. Like, you get fresh tires, it's always this crazy jostling for position at the start of a run. You guys are making excellent time. Paul able to get up to the rear of the 777 just about every straightaway just before corner entry, giving a little bit of a push going in the corner. 777 pulling up in front of the 429. But the way these guys are running, 777 pulling the 43 through the corners, but pulling Paul Witt, that 429 along the straightaways. We got a truck, maybe 2 trucks in the wall. Maybe a little bit of damage there. If I was seeing correctly, a 78 of Gary Slapinski. Let's take a look. No, he's fine. Not quite certain who that was. But Michael pulling the 43 and the 429 at different portions of the track. He's keeping them side by side. And that's what he wants. He wants to keep these folks side by side as long as he can. Maybe have them wear out their tires. Here we have our top 5 running single file until they make it to the corners. Paul, Sandy, Gary, and George all running that top lane. The 91 of Joel Guy getting out of the way. He's currently showing 8 laps down after that problem he had earlier. Just letting the field go by, not wanting to interfere in folks racing for position. Classy move by Mr. Joel Guy. Of our lucky dog here, Robert Jordan, fell off the pack. Not certain if there's a problem with this truck or he should have come down pit road there under that last caution. Quite certain what's going on there. We'll go back to the front, back to our leaders. It's been a little bit of a break, a little bit of separation, but 429 still all over Michael Pegg's rear bumper. Michael looked like he touched the wall there with the right rear. Paul able to get to his inside. Clears him before corner entry so he can get that top lane that he's been running. Not often you see Paul Witt running the top lane. He's more comfortable right there down around the bottom. Seems like maybe he noticed during that run where he was fighting Gary for the lead that maybe it wore out his truck faster than he was hoping. But absolutely for sure, running that top lane, none of those guys are saving any fuel. Top lane, the longer way around the track, got to get back in the gas sooner than the bottom does. So Paul must know that he's good on gas. So we'll go ahead, we'll do a ride along. Do a ride along with the 78 so we can watch this battle for the lead. Gary here just watching, letting these two duke it out. You can hear how little he was out of the throttle going through turns 3 and 4. We'll stick with it through turns 1 and 2. Good draft run there along the front stretch going in turn 1. You can hear he got out of the throttle maybe for about half of turn 1, and then he was feathering the throttle all the way through the rest of 1 and all the way through 2, getting a good run, making sure he didn't slide the front end too much. Do a little ride along with the 429. Doesn't sound like Paul ever quite fully gets out of the gas. Gets up on the back bumper of the 777, gives a little bump before corner entry. Sounds like he's dropping maybe down to about a quarter throttle. Put it about half throttle and gets back into it. So that's the difference in how some folks run this track. Some keep a little bit of throttle in it the whole time. Some folks only, some folks lift a little bit. That's just two different ways that this has been run by our, by the top, two of the top 3. Them sticking together, making up amazing amounts of time. Last time by, our top 3, 0.2 of a second faster than the one of George Rincon, running a similar line. But unfortunately, he's having to deal with the dirty air off of 3 trucks, and that's negatively affecting his ability to make forward progress on him. Come back here. 79 of Mark Jackson. Mark back here stuck on the bottom going 3 wide. He got a very good run coming out of turn 4. Gary Sr. and Randolph Richard to his outside. It's good corner entry, has the 52 cleared. 52, a little better corner arc. Unfortunately has to check up a little bit, go for a cutback there on the 79. They're still 3 wide going down the backstretch. 89 gets an excellent run. 52 backs out of it a little bit, but the 59 there, Ralph Blair, keeping it there on the outside. Has some excellent speed there going down the turn 4, exiting the corner. Shoving the 89 down the front stretch, trying to clear the 79 of Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson made it to the left rear quarter panel of the 59, able to use a side draft to bring him back just a little bit. Keep them side by side. Unfortunately, not enough to help him clear the 59 there through turns 1 and 2. So with 3 wide again as the 52 starts to fight back on the outside. Ralph Blair able to clear Mark Jackson. This is one of the best things about Fontana is how wide this track is. You can have cars 3 wide lap after lap after lap and still have excellent clean racing. You try this at some tracks, you just can't make 3 cars fit, not for as long as we've seen them. Randolph Richard under fire from the 111. John Henderson. Randolph pulls down the track, lets John go by, lets him have it. So we hop up to our 7th place driver, Sandy Curtis, fighting with our 6th place driver, Dan Witt. This is your fight for 6th place. Sandy running a little bit of different line than we've seen him run. Started running more towards the bottom. As many cars in front of him have been running the top, it's not surprising to see someone move to the bottom, maybe try and take a chance down there. Keep as much air on the nose as possible. Dan Witt, you see him fighting the 1, watching the fight between the 1 of George Rincon, the 9 of John Held. John having an excellent run. Started in 5th, running in 4th, so he's not been really outside the top 5 all night. But once he got separated from the 777 of Michael Pegg, it seemed that he hasn't been able to find someone he could work with quite the same way to make it up towards the front of the field. He tries to pick up George Rincon. George doesn't seem like maybe he wants to work with the 9. He went looking for a pass, follows him through the corner. Not certain if that was intentional or just happenstance. We'll keep an eye on this as it progresses. 1 definitely looking like he would much rather be ahead of the 9 than push him. Those 2 can work together. 2 very fast trucks. They might be able to track down our top 3. So we hop back to the point. 777 of Michael Pegg still leading, fairly comfortable lead. Got a 1/10 of a second. They've managed to pull out between the 777, the 429, and the 78. They've managed to get a 2-second gap over the 9 of John Held. Remember, John's been fighting with the 1 the last several laps. Paul Witt just shoving Michael Pegg down the front stretch as hard as he can. Last time by, John held a 1/10 of a second faster than these guys, but overall, these 3, lap after lap after lap, are 3/10 faster roughly than the rest of the field. Like we were talking about earlier, the longer this goes on, the more these guys in the back are either going to have to hope for a caution or they're going to have to get crazy with their pit strategy. 78 got a real good run, lifted a little bit, get back in line behind Paul Witt. I think maybe now's not the time to really be racing real hard. See, these 3 all have 3 different entry lines to turn 1. They're all running 3 different lanes just about, going through the corners. Not quite, but just a little bit. Save their stuff. Looks like we were 3 wide back for a little bit here further back. John Henderson thinking better of it as he falls in behind 79 of Mark Jackson. He gets a good run coming out of turn 4 as we just reached the halfway mark. These guys still running 2 by 2. Straighten it out a little bit. Sandy Curtis here is running for 7th position. All of these guys are all fighting for the 7th spot. They're all running very similar lap times. They've been going 3 wide at some point, just about once a lap, it looks like. Not for very long before they back out of it and think better of it. So we hop back to the front, not entirely certain what happened. While we were watching that battle, the 78, Gary Slapinski, got a hell of a run. 429 down pit road. We're going to have to go back and take a look at this. What happened? Back a little further. Paul was having an excellent run. 78 looked like maybe he was a little faster. He got a pass done on him just fine. Paul may be thinking we still have to make another stop. I'm not certain. '78 came down 429 came down pit road. No damage to the truck. Not entirely certain what was going on there. We got the 1. Got it in the wall a little bit. Doesn't appear to be too bad. We'll see when he goes by, see if there's any damage to that truck. Maybe to the paint a little, but nothing too egregious. Paul coming off pit road right here, right with the leaders. Like maybe Michael Pegg had a problem. He fell way back in the clutches of the 9. 9 got around him fairly quickly. Paul here with these fresher tires, rocketing past John Held, heading back to Gary Slapinski, going to get that lap back. Wonder if maybe Paul still needs to make one more stop to make it to the end. Only lap 54. Sorry, 55. Only lap 55. That's not quite. With only 35 laps of fuel, that puts him, if my math is correct, about 10 laps shy. Those fresh tires doing exactly what they need to do. Got his lap back and he is already scooting away. And all of that kerfuffle, the 9 of John Held may have found his new dancing partner. Run a little bit, maybe not, as he goes. Was thinking about maybe going for the pass on the 78 down there along the backstretch. Didn't quite have the run that he was looking for. As he dives to 78 again. Not just able to clear him, just barely able to clear him, pull the 78 along behind him. The 777 of Michael Pegg looking on. Looks like something had to have happened to that truck. One of the stronger trucks we've seen this evening. Right side of the truck looking all right, as we are looking at green flag pit stops. 99 of Dan Witt. Come off pit road. Mark Jackson, 79, having pit, it appears. Wondering if maybe my math is wrong. It's been about 30 laps since they were last on pit road. It's lap 59 now. Let's do a ride along with the 777. You hear the RPMs absolutely plummet. Michael Pegg saving fuel. What he's doing is he's clutching going into the corners, trying to make that engine use as little fuel as possible. You can eke out laps of fuel doing this. You hear him roll all of turn 3, gets back in the throttle just after the entry to turn 4. He's doing this both ends of the track. He knows it's close. He's got 33 laps of fuel on this tank. If he can make it, running like this, if he can make it another 2 or 3 laps, he should be okay. But at the same time, we have to keep in mind 429 back here, he pit 10 laps ago. He's running like there's no tomorrow, running the tires off of this car. His goal to split this lap set, maybe run 25 laps and then run another 25 laps. We'll see how this plays out. I'm not certain how this strategy is going to work, but there's one thing we all know: you're never going to win doing what the leader's doing. Because if you're trying to run the leader's race, you're almost setting yourself up for failure. That's the amazing thing about stock car racing. When it comes to pitting, when do you pit, when do you not pit? Do you take 2 tires? You take 4 tires? How much fuel do you put in the tank? Do you pit with this person? Do you pit with that person? It's all a gamble. Everyone trying. It's like going to Las Vegas. You go in there to make money, make something happen, but you're always playing the house. And that's what you're doing here. Lap 63, 78, 777, and the 9 all staying out. All 3 of them been 35 laps since they came down pit road. They are riding that clutch pedal for all it's worth. '99 of Dan Witt having successfully unlapped himself. Dan pitting 7 laps ago. So unfortunately, that still puts him out of the window to make it to the end. I think the earliest you can pit and make it to the end is probably lap 65. You should be able to pit lap 65. Especially if you're going along the bottom groove, you pit around lap 65. You should be able to run fairly hard all the way to the end of the race. The 78 moving up the track, letting the 79 of Mark Jackson go by. Mark on fresh tires. Wonder if maybe, unfortunately, the 9, even if he was going to pit this lap, he can't. 79 below him right there. 78 stays out with him, keeping the 777 with them. These fellas have managed to save 3 laps of fuel so far. Saving 3 laps of fuel. Absolutely phenomenal run. This is going to, when they come down pit road, this is going to be their last stop. So it looked like may have been an excellent strategy potentially for the 429. Appears to have backfired. 9 coming down pit road now, bringing the 777 of Michael Pegg with him. 78 of Gary Slapinski staying out. gotta wonder, 39 laps since he last pit, how much has he saved? See just about everybody coming down pit road. John Henderson on pit road. Jeff Gilmore on pit road. Had a few other guys come down pit road. A few other guys come down pit road. They've been down and away already about a lap, 2 laps ago. George Rincon, Sandy Curtis, Ralph Blair having come just the lap prior. So we'll go ahead and we'll watch the one. The one having only pit 1 lap earlier. Want to see where he stacks up on this as the 77's coming around turn 2. One looks like maybe not quite able to make up all that much ground. Those 1 lap fresher tires. Unfortunately, not able to close the distance as much as he would have hoped, as the 9 and the 777 are already back up to full speed. Although them racing side by side may help the 1 get back to them. John Held, Michael Pegg going nose to tail here. They want to make up as much time as they can on that 78 of Gary Slapinski, who has come down pit road, just came off. So he'll be getting back up to speed. Here come the 777 and the 9. Michael Pegg dives, 52, Gary Sr. Gary Slapinski able to save so much fuel and keeps it out in front of Michael Pegg and John Held. Phenomenal job by the 78 to keep up that pace on tires that old. Save that much fuel. So our pit cycle is just about complete. Paul Witt in the 429 is our leader. He was able to get his lap back. And not only unlap himself, but take the lead. But unfortunately, it's been 19 laps since he came down pit road, and there's 30 to go in this race. As excellent as Gary was doing saving gas, I don't even think he could save as much fuel as required to make it from here. Especially when we consider the line, the 429. Now he's transitioned to running the bottom again, taking advantage of the fact he doesn't have to deal with dirty air in front of him. 89 of Randolph Richard goes by, unlapping himself. Paul able to get a little bit of a draft toe off of Randolph, pull him down the front stretch a little bit faster. Unfortunately for Paul, though, this appears to be our race for the lead right here. 78, the 777, the 9, and the 52. Gary Sr., unfortunately, his tires a little bit older than the 3 people ahead of him. John Held taking his time, biding his time a little bit. He's not back quite far enough that he's completely fallen off the draft of the people ahead of him, but it's getting to that point. Michael Pegg looked like he maybe burned up the right front there a little bit, navigating the 79 of Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson on 17 lap old tires. That's 11 laps older than the people around him. He was one of our first to come down pit road during that cycle of pit stops. Looking how this is running, a few folks may be expecting a caution. Our leader, Paul Witt, brings it down pit road. Fortunately, pitting from the lead, he's likely not going to go a lap down again, like he did when he pit there around lap 50. But definitely looking to split this last section into 25 lap stages, essentially. So come down pit road. He'll take 4 tires, fill it full of fuel. Dan Witt in the 99, having inherited the lead, he's already been caught by the 78. 78 goes for good pass there on the bottom. 99 tried to squeeze the 78 there on corner exit, not quite able to get him. They almost make contact. Paul Witt finished his stop. He's down and away. Unfortunately for him, that puts him about 34, 35 seconds back from the leaders with 25 to go. Gary Slapinski running a 41-second lap that time by. Wonder if Paul can run over a second a lap faster from here to the end, he may have a shot, but it will be a tall order. Gary having built a comfortable lead to second place, Michael Pegg, running 0.8 of a second back. Michael gets a good draft toe down the straightaways. Gary just looking like he's got that little bit better corner speed. Gary gets an excellent turn 3 and 4. Michael doesn't start actually closing the gap until about 3/4 of the way down the front stretch. He's trying to mirror that line the 78 is running, but it's unfortunately not quite working out. Gary having pulled out a 1 second lead over Michael. Gotta wonder, that dirty air is probably playing havoc with the ability to turn the car quite the way he wants it. Tax the apron a little bit. Maybe help him rotate the car a little bit better. Getting right up there alongside the wall on corner exit. Doing everything he can to pull Gary back, but that 78 is just scooting away. Take a look a little bit further back. So we got a 4-way battle for 6th place. John Henderson, Gary Whitmer Sr., George Rincon, and Jeff Gilmore. All of these guys on similarly aged tires. The exception of Gary Sr., his tire is just a shade older than the folks around him, but he's hanging in there, fighting every bit as hard as the folks around him. 57 goes for an excellent pass. Gets the 52 and the 1. They're back single file trying to track down that 111. John Henderson has put himself actually in the 5th position. John Henderson having qualified all the way back in 16th. Up here in the top 5. Excellent run by the 111. As we go ahead and we check in 43 of Sandy Curtis, running back in 10th place. Was running up there in the top 5 earlier in the race. Things on these pit cycles not quite working out the way he wanted. Still running a solid race. He's running faster than the leaders currently. About a 1/10.5 a lap faster than the 78 of Gary Slapinski. It's unfortunate pit cycle didn't quite work out to his advantage. Definitely would be one to watch up there towards the front. Dan Witt hitting pit road. Dan having pushed it as far as he can, pitting on lap 81. Some of these drivers hoping and begging for a caution. The way they're strung out, that's unlikely to happen. Unfortunately for him, things not quite working out the way he'd hoped. 429 of Paul Witt. Running some fairly substantial laps. Last time by, he was a second faster than the 78 of Gary Slapinski. He's managed to take that 35-second deficit, cut it down to 28 seconds, probably 27 seconds by the time this lap ends. Unfortunately, with 17 laps to go, that might not be enough time, as he's only a straightaway ahead of our leader. Sort of the situation he was kind of forced to run the top there for quite a while. As we talked about earlier, you just cannot save any fuel running around the top. You have to be aggressive. You have to be attacking every corner, getting everything you can. Watch George here. George started 13th, running 6th. Excellent drive from the number 1. Talked about him a little earlier, the 111. John Henderson puts himself up to the 4th position. The 99 Dan Witt goes by, trying to see if he could track that leader down and get his lap back. Dan showing first car a lap down. With the lap times he's able to run versus the leader, he should be able to get there by the end of this. At least get back on the lead lap. There being an extra bonus point for completing all 100 laps of this event. So you do not want to finish a lap down if you can avoid it. And Dan appears to be doing just that, driving as hard as he can. Once he catches these leaders, he's going to blow by them rather fast. Leaders all on 20 lap or older tires. Dan only on 5 lap tires, so good on him. He should got a lap led, finish every lap. More than likely he has 0 incident points, so even if he doesn't have exactly the position finish that he wants, fair amount of bonus points can definitely make up for that. Back to our leader, Gary Slapinski, the 78. 2.3 seconds on the 777 of Michael Pegg. Michael just not able to keep up that pace that the 78 has. But at the same time, appears to be just enough to keep the 9 of John Held behind him. John currently 1.6 back for Michael. Not enough to get a draft run off the 777 and maybe make his life a little easier getting up towards the front. 99 of Dan Witt flies by John Held. And that's sort of what we were talking about. Those fresh tires Dan has get him back up there, back on the lead lap. Unfortunately, without a caution, probably the best he can hope for is a 12th place finish. Dan has caught the 777 of Michael Pegg. So we'll go ahead and we'll go through the field here with 10 laps to go. Starting with your pole sitter, Gary Slapinski, running in first. I do believe Gary's led the most laps this evening. He's been out front, definitely the dominant truck. I think Fontana is one of Gary's better tracks. He's fast everywhere, absolutely everywhere. But I think Fontana is just one of those tracks that he has memorized every bump, every line. I'm fairly certain if we were to ask him, he could tell you how running over the tar strips on the track affect the truck. He's got that much consistency running around this track. Said back to the 777 of Michael Pegg. Michael no slouch at Fontana himself, running in the second position, 3 seconds back from Gary. Looks like Michael maybe just ran a little bit harder earlier on than maybe he needed to. As we take a look just a step further back to the 9 of John Held. John having shaved that lead Michael had down to only 0.4 of a second. John having a very strong evening. Michael having run from the back, I did get it confirmed. He did have a penalty early on, so he was forced to given an EOL start at the end. Michael running up in second. Excellent drive for him. The 9 of John Held been in the top 5 all night long. Qualified 5th, running 3rd. He's getting some real good runs on the 777 here. Able to arc that corner just a little bit better, get a massive drive off. Gets to the rear bumper, dives the inside. They are door to door. 777 does a good job of pinning the 9 down on the bottom of the track. 9 gets a good run, separates from Michael. Keep Michael from hitting him with that side draft, pull him back. But Michael still has a very good run there along the top there. Still, Michael lifting a little bit, going for the cutback on the 9. The 9 doing the same thing, trying to pinch this 777 down. Michael's got to get out of it to keep from getting in to John Held. John makes the pass, gets up into second place. This is where John's going to have to drive defensively. Use that dirty air bubble behind him to keep the 777 from passing him back. It's a good run going down the front stretch. Separated from the 777 by 0.2. You see that line the 9 is running. He's running higher on corner entry and through the turn 1, but he's able to arc it down to to the white line going through turn 2, getting monster runs down the backstretch. Gotta hope running like this won't wear out his right front. So he continues to make ground on the 777. We continue going back again to the 111 of John Held, running in the 4th position, qualified 16th. Excellent run for John, just biding his time. Been very quiet all race long. He's been involved in some pretty intense side-by-side battles, but not really putting himself in any kind of dubious situation. Just keeping his nose clean. Excellent drive from the 111. As we go back to our 5th place car, it was the 57 of Jeff Gilmore. Jeff qualified 4th, running 5th. Been very consistent all night. We are 5 laps to go this time by. The number 1 of George Rincon. George qualified 13th, running 6th. Been towards the front for quite a bit of this race, probably about half of this race. Once he was able to break free of that massive pack of cars, he was able to get out there and make up a bunch of time. Definitely all night seems to have preferred running that high line. Another look back, 52, Gary Whitmer Sr. Gary coming down pit road. See, last pit 36 laps ago. Unfortunate for him, not able to save enough fuel to make it to the end. That's going to drop him a bunch of positions, probably put him a lap down. It's unfortunate for Gary. He's been running a very good race. Chips just not falling exactly how we needed them. And so that will have allowed Sandy Curtis here to inherit the 8th position. Sandy qualified 6th. Running up top, running along that Tyler Reddick line. Definitely seems to be where he's most comfortable. Take another look back just a little bit further in 9th position. Paul Witt. Paul trying that alternate pit strategy. He knew people ahead of him were going to still have to stop. Very good. I will say it was a very interesting gamble on his part. It's got him from 12th where he was up to 9th. So a top 10 for Paul. So he looks like he's reeling in the 43 of Sandy Curtis. He's got 2 laps to catch him. Our leader 78, Gary Sapinski, makes his way through turns 3 and 4. He crosses the stripe. Next flag will end the race. He sails it off into turn 1, 4.5 seconds ahead of 2nd place John Held, who was able to hold off the 777 of Michael Pegg. Gary just taking it easy. He brings it through 3 and 4 for the final time onto the front stretch. 78, Gary Slapinski will be your winner here at Fontana, California in commanding fashion. 2nd place, John Held. 3rd place, Michael Pegg. Very good run from both of those drivers. 111 of John Henderson brings it over the line in 4th, and the 57 of Jeff Gilmore is your 5th place truck. It's the amazing thing about Fontana. It lends itself amazing to long green flag runs. And those long green flag runs give you some very interesting pit strategy, tire strategy. Gary Slipinski able to run 40 laps on a 35-lap tank. Did an excellent job that entire run, second run, saving fuel. And that turned out to be the right play. So he brings it here to the start-finish line. Burns it down.
User was moved to your channel. User was moved to your channel. User was moved to your channel.
Well, we have our top three here, top three finishers. Excellent run from all three of you. We'll start with our third place driver, 777, Michael Pegg. Michael, excellent drive tonight. Started from the back. Understand you had a penalty you had to serve, but able to drive it up all the way, lead yourself a few laps, bring it home in third. Go ahead and walk us through even getting to the front. That seemed to be a tall order the way everyone was running this evening.
Yeah, the cars, it took quite a while for the tire wear to start wearing out and guys to get spread it out. It was a lot of side-by-side, three-way. The corners were tough. Everybody was tough tonight. They weren't giving anything. You had to take it from them.
If we were watching you there during that final run, you had looked like you had quite a lead built up over the 9 of John Held, not quite able to hold him off there at the end. Just gotta wonder, were you maybe running a little bit harder towards the beginning of the run, or just that tire wear just came in at the wrong time?
Probably trying too hard at the front and didn't even it out. And then turn 3 and 4 was tough for me. I popped the wall a couple of times.
If we were noticing while you were following the 78 of Gary Slipinski, he definitely seemed to have a better 3 and 4, unfortunately for you, than you did. About even in turns 1 and 2. It's been a lot of fun watching you tonight. Is there anyone you want to thank this evening?
Yeah, I'd like to thank all the guys that watched Lucky Dog and all the Lucky Dog members, everybody that came to drive tonight. I want to thank my wife, Tracy, Molly, and Cash. And most of all, you, William, for broadcasting. Can't thank you enough.
Well, thank you very much. It's good talking with you. We'll go ahead and let you talk, put you back, talk to your team. Excellent race tonight, Michael.
Thanks, sir.
User left your channel.
We have next our second place driver, the number 9 of John Held. John, William in the booth, you got me?
I got you.
John, you were fast tonight. I don't think there was a time all evening that you weren't inside the top 5. How were you able to keep it there all night long?
I just had kept an eye on my tire wear, how bad I was scrubbing going into the corners. I really babied it for the first half of each of the legs. I could just keep the speed up for the whole run, and I think that helped me out in the long run to catch Gary and Peg on that second pit stop. But maybe ran it a little too hard or too slow that last segment.
Hey, you were able to once he wore his tires out, you were able to track Michael down very, very quickly. Made short work of that pass. Yeah, I can say it's not many people that can pass Michael that convincingly. It was very impressive to watch.
Yeah, just had probably a little bit better tire wear. I didn't start that last segment fast enough. I seen, Gary and Michael in front of me there, and I thought, boy, if I try to stick with them, I'm going to burn my stuff up. But I just let them go too far in front of me, and I burned my stuff up. I think, trying to get around Michael and catch up to Gary, and Gary kept that same distance, so he did well in that last segment.
Was very, very enjoyable to watch you tonight. You hear, I do believe on Tuesdays. I think you and I race against each other Wednesday nights, and it's great to see you here this evening. Always one of the strongest cars on the track. Is there anyone you wanna thank before we let you go?
Well, I'll thank my wife for letting me doing this, Melanie, and we'll thank Lucky Dog for putting this on. You, William, yep, we have fun together when we race. I don't know how you did the gas mileage last one. I'll figure that out. That was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. It was good talking with you, John, and we will catch you next time. Look forward to it.
Thanks, guys.
User was moved out of your channel.
And lastly, we have our winner, pole sitter. I think led most, not only led a lap, led most of the laps. I believe 78 of Gary Slapinski. Gary, it seems like I talk to you just about every race.
Yeah, it's seems like it, but I have a lot of fun doing it.
Well, it's the price for being fast, I suppose. You got to put up with me.
Yeah, that's all right.
So started on the pole. I think the only time you were outside of the top 5 was when you came down pit road that first time for 4 tires and fuel. No, sorry, the second time, because the first time y'all pit was under caution, unfortunately, for Joel's mechanical issues. What I want to ask you, that second run, you guys came down pit road. You managed to run 40 laps on a truck that only gets 35 miles to the tank. How did you, sorry, not 35 miles, 35 laps to the tank. How did you save 5 laps of fuel and still bring it home first?
I saved a lot. I was clutching. That's why John and all them, they all caught me. I was just like, I got to save fuel. I was saving fuel. Then the last run, well, I had that auto thing on, and it only put in to save for 1 lap. So that last run, I was saving fuel again too. I was like, what is going on? What's wrong with me today? So if I would have filled it up, that the second to last one, I could have driven harder than that. But all of a sudden I looked down, I was like, oh man, I did it again. And it said I was a lap short. I was actually a lap short. So I saved a whole lap, and I saved about a lap and a half of fuel that last run.
Saving during the last run, and you were still able to gap second and third as convincingly as you were there. Short of you running out of gas in turn 4, there would have been nothing that they could have done really to catch you. I'd almost wonder, is this your home track? Do you go here a lot? Do you actually race cars here? Because you're always fast at Fontana.
I don't know. This track, I have a good knack for it. I don't know. This must be one of those tracks that I do well at. Everybody has a track they do really, really good at, and somehow this one does me really good. Maybe because the way I come in and how I drip off to the wall than everybody else. Maybe some people like to drive it off the right front or the right rear. I kind of like to slide it up there, kind of use all 4, all the tires all the way up. It just seems it's a good knack for me. I like this racetrack. It's a lot of fun.
You definitely seem to have the line down. It didn't matter what line people ran, whether they, got those momentum runs off the top or they tried to follow you along the bottom. No one could seem to really, for more than a couple laps, keep up with you. Absolutely dominant performance this evening. Is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
I'd like to thank you, Will, tonight. You did a great job tonight. I really appreciate all that you're doing for Lucky Dog. I'm sure Michael does. Brian, they all appreciate everything you're doing. And all the viewers out there, please hit the like, subscribe button. Kind of going to help out this channel. It's new, so we'd like to get it going. Any other racers out there that want to race with us, always put in something for PM for Brian, Michael, me. I don't care if it's Willie here who's doing this. If you think you can come out here and drive with us, we're glad to have you out here. It'd be privilege to have another driver out here. So come on, guys, come out here and race with us. And thank you, everybody out there, for watching. And have a good night.
Absolutely. Some will come in here and give Gary a run for his money.
Yes, I want it. Yes, please come on in.
All right. Well, it was good talking to you, Gary. We'll go ahead and we'll let you go. It was fun watching you tonight.
Thank you.
User was moved out of your channel.
And that is it for us, folks. 100 laps here at Fontana. Fun race, green flag racing most of the night. Absolutely, we had it all. We had some tire strategy. We had a bunch of fuel saving. We had just about all you could ask for in a good race. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you. Do believe we have late model stock short track racing tomorrow night. Xfinity Super Speedway on Saturday, same time, 8 o'clock, green flag. Monday we have the Gen 4 Cup cars. Tuesday, and you'll hear back from me on Tuesday with the Gen 6 mile and a half series. Absolutely fun race tonight. We'll see you again. Bye.